NXT starts off with Fallon Henley versus Zarya for the Speed Championship. There was a match before, but I'm not going to really go into it. It's for the Evolved Championship for men. But I'm not going to really go that in detail about it because I really just don't have nothing to say about that match. But Fallon Henley, Zarya for the Speed Championship. Zarya is trying to get the Speed Championship back. Try to get it back to Soroka, but she ends up failing due to the help of Fatal Influence. Zarya tries to go for like some type of spear on the outside, but Laney Reed pulls Fallon Henley. This made Zarya go run into the steel steps. This allowed Fallon Henley to pick up the victory. So Fallon Henley is your new speed champion. So now you got Jacy Jayne and Fallon Henley both holding gold in Fatal Influence, and I'm assuming this is going to lead to the story of Zarya and Soroka continuing their story of the dissension of their friendship. Very curious to see what's going to happen with this, like, because they're kind of teasing both sides, because there was a segment before this match where Ethan Page was talking to Soroka about she needs to focus on herself and stop trying to help out Zarya, and that she needs to just focus on her own career and stop playing second fiddle to Zarya. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to play that out, because it looks like they could potentially go either way with this turn, whether it's Zarya or Soroka either turning heel or babyface, whether they could go either direction, because you could have Soroka turn heel or you could have Zarya turn heel. So I'm very interested to see how they go. But nonetheless, I like what they're doing. I do think this story is a bit overbooked, because I don't think we should even got to this point. I feel like this should have already happened. But nonetheless, they are making progress. Very interested to see how this story continues to build. Whether it's going to be, because Soroka is in the Iron Survivor, so you could have Zarya cost her the Iron Survivor, or Soroka could possibly win, and you can have her cost her the NXT Championship match at New Year's Eve. So either way, I'm interested to see where this goes. But I like what they've been doing. This was a solid match. I'm not gonna act like it was anything special. It was a solid match, but I like the story that they're telling. Soon afterwards, John Cena ends up announcing all of the opponents that will be in the Iron Survivor for the men's and the women. For the men's, it ends up being Javon Evans, Leon Slater, Joe Hendry, Dion Lennox, and Miles Bourne. Miles Bourne ended up having a contendership match against Trick Williams to determine who will be in that final spot. Miles Bourne picked up the victory. So out of these five contestants, I think this is going to be very weird and interesting, because there's not many heels in this match. There's only one heel, and that's Dion. And I'm assuming Ricky Saints will probably be champion. So it's going to create an interesting dynamic, because I feel like a babyface, I feel like it's only Javon Evans that kind of needs this win here, because no one else makes sense. I kind of don't like that both TNA guys are in this match, because I feel like two people got robbed. Tavion Heights and Josh Briggs. Especially Josh Briggs, but especially with the way they've been pushing him in 2025 with the feuds he had, I don't understand how he's not in this match. I really don't. Why is Joe Hendry in here? I don't understand it. It don't really make sense to me, especially because the TNA stuff I don't mind, but it's like Joe Hendry doesn't need the Iron Survivor. He has had multiple opportunities at Championship Gold already. Well, not for the NXT Championship. I think he actually had a shot at the NXT Championship, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but he's easily in the main event scene for the most part. He could easily get an NXT title shot if he really wants to. Like, he's feuded with Trick Williams of all people. Like, and anytime when he is on NXT, it's typically to feud with an NXT talent. It's not like he's actively trying to win the NXT championship. He's typically going after someone else on that roster, like a Trick, like an Ethan Page. So I don't really know why he's even in this match. I'm cool with one of them being in it, but both guys, I kind of feel like I don't think you need both guys in this match. I feel like Tavion and Josh Briggs kind of got robbed, in my opinion. That's just me personally, because I just don't see either of them winning, especially with Ricky Saints as champion. The only logical choice that makes sense is Javon Evans to eventually make him the face of NXT whenever Trick and Oba eventually get called up. That's just me personally. But nonetheless, it should be an interesting match, but I wouldn't have put Leon or Joe Hendry, or you could have just kept one. I feel like Josh Briggs or Tavion should have been in one of those spots. That's just in my opinion. But I do like the addition of Miles Bourne. And I kind of wish Saquon was in that spot instead of Dion, in my opinion. But Dion is the one that did form the group of Dark State. And he is the main one that is the most featured, who typically get the most mic work out of all of them. Even though I think Saquon should be in that spot, because I think Saquon is clearly the best member of that faction. But nonetheless, it does make sense why Dion's in that spot. But I just don't see Dion winning, especially as a tag team guy, or even really having a chance. I feel like they had pulled the trigger on Joe Hendry or even Leon before they give it to Dion, because they're still building him up. But nonetheless, the men's Iron Survivor should be very interesting, but I think that is the moment where they pull the trigger on Javon Evans. And as for the women, we end up getting Soroka, Lola Vice, Kendall Gray, Jordan Grace, and Kalani Jordan. This is very interesting when it comes to the women. I like all the women. I think I got majority of the predictions right. Now, I didn't expect Kalani Jordan to be in it only because she was TNA Knockouts Women's Champion, but she ended up losing her championship on tonight's show. So it kind of makes sense, but it's a bit weird because technically speaking, you put a TNA Knockout Champion in the match, but it's fine. I don't really mind it. My only complaint will be Kendall Gray. Why? Now, I understand what they're doing with Kendall Gray, but my only thing is we know she's not winning, and I just feel like there's other people who could have got this spot. Number one, where is Jada Parker at? Like, seriously, she is your most over woman in NXT, but for whatever reason, they just don't book her. I don't understand it. I really don't. She's your most over woman in NXT, and it's not really even close. The only person that comes close to her in terms of popularity and being over is really Tatum Paxley and maybe Soruka, but I don't understand why Jada Parker's not in it. Also, where is possibly Tatum Paxley? Now, I guess she has the feud with Izzy, but she just lost her NXT championship. I would feel like she's more qualified than some of the women on here due to her being a recent champion, in my opinion. I don't mind. Look, I wouldn't say I like Kendall Gray. I don't really hate her. I don't know much about her, but she has impressed me so far. And I still need to watch more of her, but she has impressed me. But I just don't think she needs to be in this spot, especially because she's not winning the Iron Survivor. I just highly doubt it, especially with her being the Evolved Champion. I just don't see her winning it. Because typically when NXT like to push someone to the moon, they make it very obvious like they done with Oba, Julia, Stephanie. Like they make it clear that they're pushing this person. Kendall, they're like slowly building her up, so it's going to be a while before she even gets the NXT Championship. Now, who will possibly win this match? It's really between Soruka and Lola Vice, in my opinion, due to JC Jane being champion. I do not want to see JC Jane versus Jordan Grace again. And they're telling the story with Soruka and Zarya, so you can have Zarya either cost her the match at Deadline, or you can have her win and cost her the match at New Year's Eve. Or you can have Lola Vice win and get her rematch due to her being cheated the last time they faced. So either way, I am interested. I just wouldn't put Kendall Gray in this spot, in my opinion. Like I said, I like what they're doing with Kendall Gray. I just don't think she should have been in this spot. I feel like Jada Parker is more deserving. Tatum Paxley could have been in this spot, in my opinion. But nonetheless, should be a very interesting match. We end up getting a women's triple threat match for the TNA Knockouts Women's Championship between Kalani Jordan, Jordan Grace, and Xia Li. I forget her new name in TNA. I completely forgot her new name. But this was a really good match. Really enjoyed it. And Xia Li ended up picking up the victory. I don't like calling her Xia Li because I know she goes by a new name, but I completely forgot it. But she ends up getting the TNA Knockout Women's Championship. It's finally back in TNA. I think TNA got all their championships back in TNA, so that should be a good thing. I'm assuming they may end up having Kalani and Jordan Grace continue to feud because they've been telling that story. I hope they actually continue that rivalry. That rivalry doesn't need a championship. I hope they continue that story. Don't just end it here because I still don't feel like the issues are fully resolved, in my opinion. So I hope they continue this. I hope they don't just end it just because Kalani is not TNA Knockouts Women's Champion anymore. I hope they continue it. Shoot. So very interested to see where the story goes, but I like this match, and like I said, I've been somewhat interested in picking up on watching TNA, so I might end up watching the next episode of TNA. So I'm very interested to see how this plays out. We get the Women's Evolve Women's Championship match between Kendall Gray and Lainey Reed. This was a solid match. Really enjoyed it. Kendall Gray does pick up the victory. Now, I don't mind Kendall Gray picking up the victory. Now, I thought Lainey Reed was going to win because I thought they was going to tell the story of Fatal Influence holding all the gold. But it makes sense why Kendall Gray won this match. They're really high on Kendall Gray. Don't mind it. My only issue with this is the way she won. So before the match, they end up having Ava tell Lainey Reed and Fatal Influence that Fatal Influence is banned from ringside. That's fine. But they had Fatal Influence interfere anyway, which led to Kendall Gray still winning, which I don't understand. What was the point of banning them from ringside if they were still going to interfere and make Fatal Influence look like dumbasses? That's my only thing. Because they had Lainey Reed and Fatal Influence interfere helping Lainey, and she still couldn't win. That's my only problem with this whole thing. Because the finish didn't require Fatal Influence. You could have had the same finish without Fatal Influence. That's the only thing I didn't like. Because it was a moment in the match where Kendall was distracted, and Lainey Reed was staring at Kendall Gray for like 30 to 40 seconds, just staring at her, waiting for her signal to attack. But she was just waiting there for whatever. Now, like I said, I get it. She was waiting for her signal to attack, but it just looked very weird and it just looked very off. So that's my only thing. I'm cool with Kendall Gray winning. It makes sense, but why did you have Fatal Influence interfere, just only making Lainey look retarded and making her look weak? And making Fatal Influence weak. Now, Fatal Influence isn't the most dominant faction, but still, though, like, I just don't like when heels cheat and it I'm fine with heels cheating and not succeeding, but it has to make sense why they don't succeed. In this instance, it just didn't make sense how they executed, in my opinion. It'd be different if they had a ton of backup, Ren Sinclair took them all out or something like that. But no, that's not what happened. It's just Laney Reed just lost and just failed. That's how that's, in my opinion, I just feel like that was poorly executed. But nonetheless, Kendall Gray picked up the victory, still your Evolve Women's Championship. We'll see what she does as her reign continues. As for the main event, we end up getting Osborne versus Trick Williams. Osborne picked up the victory. He ends up securing his spot in the Iron Survivor, which makes sense. Trick Williams doesn't need it. Trick Williams gets title shots without really trying, so makes sense. Don't really know what's next for Trick Williams. Afterwards, we end up getting Dark State. Dark State was watching the match, wanted to see who was going to be the last member of the Iron Survivor. They try to attack Osborne, but you end up getting the other Iron Survivor opponents, Leon, Joe Hendry, Javon. They come in and prevents the attack, and that's how we end NXT. Overall, this was a really good show. Really enjoyed the show. Very interested to see how the Iron Survivor plays out. A couple decisions that I don't agree with, but I'm not completely mad over it because I do understand why they made those decisions. But nonetheless, really good episode. You guys let me know your overall thoughts, opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.